In the previous episode, we built this neat little steam power engine that we hid under this water boiler known as a donkey, which we then use to power all the different contraptions making all the different components for the meals we eat, thus eliminating the need for us to eat dry bread. But in this episode, I want to address some of the empty spaces in this farming area by adding more farms, maybe adding some decoration, and maybe sort some logistical issues by transporting items from here all the way to the farmhouse so I can eliminate the need for manual input. So the farming area has quite a few nice builds, but my biggest problem at the moment is the spacing. You see, we've got a nice build over here, and then we've got space. Then we've got two nice builds over here, and we've got space. And then we've got this whole area over here, which I think looks maybe the best, but we've got space, space, and more space. And I think we should start to fill those spaces with decorations, maybe a farm, maybe a few things. So the first one I want to address is this area right over here. So this is the area right here by the crop farms and everything, and we can't do much in this area because when the combine harvester comes around, it does its whole lap and it turns in this area, so it will basically just harvest everything in this area if we do something over here. But this space over here, we can add something to it, and I was thinking of just adding a few beehives, because see, we've got crops all over, we've got flowers over here, and I want to do more flowers in this area and really make this area lush. So why not add a few beehives in this area? And who knows, maybe some of the local bees will make their way back into this area. So first things first, we have this little entrance, and I think what we need to do is just grab our shovel, and we can just turn a bunch of this maybe into path blocks, just guiding into this area, and then generally just, I think like this. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we've got a little pathway, and then on the other side of this pathway, we can maybe do our hive. So I want to say 3 away from that, but at least 1 in, like so, and then maybe a 2 gap. That could work. I actually think we should maybe do it 1 back as well, and then we can just do something like this. And that way we've got a total of 8 hives over there, and we can just add some detail and stuff there as well. I might actually move it so it's further spaced. We can remove that flower, we can place another flower there later. Yeah, I think 6 hives will look a lot better, and then we can just go ahead and add the hives on top of those. And I'm not going to harvest any honey or anything from it. It's really just to make this area look like something. So even if bees move in, it's all good if we can't harvest it. The next thing I want to do is I do want to separate this in this area a little bit. And the combine harvester doesn't reach all the way over here. So I think just maybe adding like a few bushes every now and then, just to make it look almost like we've got this area barricaded off. So behind this little hedge we have all our beehives, so I do like that. And then we can just start by detailing the whole area by throwing in some grass and some ferns and stuff like that. So I'm quickly going to do the rest of this, and then I'll bring you guys back and we look at this place when it's done. Just with something this simple, we already made this area look 1000 times better, and I think it will be really cool if we start seeing little bees move in. So I might hijack a bee or 2 from the temporary little honeycomb farm, but this area looks really nice. I did add some glowberries, some plants, and really try to make it look overgrown and just 100% bee friendly. So with this one done, I think it's time we address the next one, which I might just do a little farm for it. So the next area I want to tackle is not very far from this beehive over here. No, it's this area right over here. But before we can build anything here, I need to dig a bit of a hole. I need to clean up this area, remove some of the grass so we can texturize it, and maybe just mark out the location of where exactly this build's going to go. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll bring you guys back once this area has been prepped. And the area has been prepped. like usual, I think I went a bit overboard with the digging of this hole, and you can also see that's barren from up here. So we've got this really big area, which I don't even know if we're going to use all of it. I have already dug a tunnel that goes through to the steam engine over there, and the only thing left to do now for this is basically just to texturize the dirt, get all of the bushes and stuff in, and just make it look a bit neater. And for that, I did prepare a little schematic, so let's quickly do a little build montage. So that farm is not nearly completed, but already it's adding so much to the area. But now it's time to do the buildy bit of this farm, and this farm's going to be a melon and pumpkin farm. Sure, I don't use those two items very often, but I would like to automate them. The first thing I'm going to do is just add some water, because we need water to set or to hydrate the crops, and we can just chuck the water in here, and this should be enough to hydrate everything. I am, however, thinking that I might have to move it if the contraption gets flooded or if I start building the contraption, but for now this should work. And the next step is to get in the farmland. So the farmland's going to be in these areas over here, so let's just mark them out so we remember. So we're going to have 3 lines of farmland, and now we have all the farmland in. And the next thing I want to do is just plant some crops, and we're going to do pumpkin like that in that specific pattern. Let's see how many I can get. And then melon's gonna be in this pattern like this. I am not sure if this is gonna make them grow faster, so what I'm gonna do is this line I'm gonna do in this form, this line I'm gonna do melons and pumpkins, and this line I'm gonna do something different again, just to test it and see which one works the fastest. But if any of you know, let me know down in the comments. I know the checker pattern works the best, but for this type of farm I cannot do a checker pattern, so let me know down in the comments. So we've got the pumpkin and melon crops in, and like mentioned, I have them in different patterns. This is the crisscrossy one, this is the 2 separate lines, and then this one that we have pumpkins on one side, melons on the other side. And I will keep an eye on it. It seems like this side is growing a lot faster, but I'm not totally sure. But anyway, we need to get to the automation of this farm over here, and to do that I first need to build up a little structure above that will hold all the harvesting mechanisms. And for that I'm going to go with fences, and I'm going to do stripped dark oak fences like so, 4 high, and then on this 5th one we're going to do a stripped spruce small lattice. And then this stripped dark oak lattice we're just going to run all the way to the other side, where it will eventually meet up with the same structure again, which is just then again 1, 2, 3, 4 high, and then lattice on top of that like so. So I'm gonna do all 3 of these, and I think connect them over here, I think so. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of lattice placing to do. So we've got all the lattice work in, and I do think it looks quite nice, but now we need to focus on the harvesting of this year crops. And my idea is to have these blocks that the pumpkins and the melons grow on get pushed up into drills or harvesters. It's probably going to be drills. The drills will harvest them, and then after a few seconds it will retract, putting the dirt down where it was, and then the cycle will repeat. But like you can see, the crops don't grow really fast. So what I want to do is I want to also add it to a once a day cycle. So that is something we're going to have to do a bit later in this episode. But for now, I think we need to get these blocks glued together, install all the sticky mechanical pistons, and take it from there. So starting over here, we'll just glue this entire line of blocks together. Same on this side, and we're going to do this exact thing for both these 2 lines as well. And now that all these lines are glued together, we're going to hop on down into the underground part, and that will be right this block over here, that block over there, going all the way across to here. So these are the lines that we're going to push up into the mechanical drills or saws or whatever we're going to use, and after a while we're going to retract them. They're going to come back down to the position they're in, and then once they're retracted back in, we will just have to sort out the collection of said items. But I do think we're going to just use backpacks and magnets again. But the first thing we need to do is just maybe hook this up to the power, get the posts in, and just test and see if it works. So before we can give this contraption power, the first thing we need to do is insert these little piston extension poles. But to know how many we need to insert, we need to go to the top real quick. So keep in mind, we're going to move the dirt block and the pumpkin. So we're going to say we move the dirt block up 1, 2, 3. So then the dirt block's going to end over there. The pumpkin's going to be right over here where the backpack is, for example, and then our harvesting mechanism will be there. So in theory, we need to move up 1, 2, 3 blocks. So down here again, we're just going to say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and just continue this the whole way through. The next part will be to also ensure that they're all receiving the same rotational power, which means they all turn in the exact same direction. And the easiest way to do this, I think, will be to use encased chain drives. So I'm just going to place a bunch. I will change them because obviously this isn't the right way around. Yeah, that's the way they need to face that way. So let's do all of those. The second thing I want to do is I want to change this from 48 RPM to 16. So we're going to have to do a rotational speed controller. And if I look at this correctly, we're going to have to go power one of those 2 blocks. Okay, let me clear a bit more space real quick. So now the area's been cleared out, the system's connected up, and I did run this all the way through. I set this rotational speed controller to 16 because that's the ideal speed, and we just have some network stress and rotational speed monitors over here. So if in theory we place this here and we just go up, we should see this go up or stay in the position it is. And I did remove the glue, so only the first block will go up. So let's just test if we drop this in there. Nothing happens, which is fine. So let's just rip this out again. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to set this to 16 still, button in the top. And if we do the exact same again, we see they go up and they stop in the right position. That is perfect. So this is exactly what we want. So we know this is going to work, and for now I'm just going to reverse it again like so. Let's just make sure. There it goes, and it stops again, which is fantastic. So this is actually rotating the right direction because we want it to stay down unless it receives a signal. And when it receives that signal, it will go up, stay up for a bit, and then go back down. So what we need to do is we need to hook up this whole contraption to an interface that will pick up when something goes past. And I think we should do it once the vehicle that we're going to insert goes past here. So the next thing we need to do is just modify this whole setup a little bit. So I've set up the little system and we can test it now. So if we jump down here, I'm just going to run you through it. So we've got the normal clutch over here that we're going to use to turn off this farm once the storage is full, but the power goes into this gear shift. So what the gear shift does is the rotational direction the item is turning on, it stays the same when it runs through it, but once you power it, it will reverse it to the other direction. So we know this is the right direction because if we pop up here, these items or those pistons are not extended. So what we need to do is give it a signal, allow it to change, push the pistons up, get the items harvested, and after a certain amount of time, pull them back down. And that's what this system does. So over here, we've got a redstone contact. As soon as the vehicle passes by, and it will have a redstone contact on it, as soon as it passes by, it's going to give a signal. It's going to switch this latch. It's going to power this gear shift, and the machine's going to go up. It's going to go up, and after 10 seconds, this pulse repeater will shoot out a second signal running into this, powering it again and retracting the pistons. Now the only way we can test it is by placing another redstone contact right over here, but to get out fast I'm just going to do this. There we go. So let's place it, and then we should see it go up and after 10 seconds go down. So I'm going to place, collect, you can see it's powered, these go up, they stop, and then after 10 seconds they go back down. and they stay in their spot. So this is working, and everything will be pushed up. It will get harvested. So now the only thing we're left to do is create the harvesting mechanism on top and also collecting the items. So now that we know all of that's working, it's time to build the harvesting part of this contraption. And to do that, we're just going to go ahead and on top of these, we're going to place mechanical drills facing down. We're going to run them all the way down to the edge, and then we'll power them using encased chain drives that will just take down into the underground area where our power is running. As for the harvesting, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to have backpacks sitting at the bottom. So once this goes down again, we just have the backpacks with magnets pick up the items and deposit it into a drawer system. Let me get all of this placed and powered, and then I'll bring you back and we test it together. So we got the whole system connected. All of these are spinning, and I know currently it kind of looks cool. It looks cool from down here. I really like the way this looks. From the sides, not so much, and I will sort that out. But I think the first thing we need to do is test this. So if we go down and if we place this redstone contact, we pick it up again, we can see the items are going up. They get harvested. Everything's retracting. And now the items are just on the floor. And this is where I want to add the backpack. So I'm going to do backpacks with magnets underground here. And they'll just pick up the items once they come down and deposit it into the storage system. So I would say this is a great success. And I'm going to try and make this look a little bit better. Get the storage system in. And then I'll bring you guys back to see the final product. And just like that, we've got this whole area built up, and I have to admit, I think this really ties the whole area together. If we run in here, just have a look at it from the bottom. We can still see the mechanical drills, the power's coming up through that shaft over there. And then we've got the melons and pumpkins growing down here. I need to close up all these holes as well still. But everything's growing perfectly, and if we run to this side, we've got a little temporary storage over here. I will connect it to a bigger storage later on, but for now we only using this for this purpose, for gathering purpose, so this should do just fine. We're also getting the whole melons. So what we did is down here we've got like a little compacting system where we take the melon slices into a compacting drawers, and the melons gets put back into the bigger storage. So let's quickly see how this works. If we go over here, let's just trigger this contraption again. We can see the items go up. They harvest. And all the items just remain there. And as it comes down, the items start to disappear. And that's because they get picked up by the backpacks with the magnets in. And they end up right over here. So I would call that success. I would call that a great success. So now that we've decorated some of the areas and everything's starting to look a little bit better, I think it's time we address the whole logistics. You see, currently we're filling up inventories from one factory to another factory manually, and I want to try and eliminate that. And I want to eliminate it by building a pickup truck. So I got a little schematic in a cannon that I've built in a creative world, and I think we should roll a little build montage as we build the pickup truck that will be transporting all our goods. So I might have gotten a little bit carried away, but the pickup truck, I mean, just look at this. This looks so freaking awesome. And then in here, we've got a little driver. His name is Janella. And then on the back, we've just got a chicken that's along for the ride. The idea is to get a little pupper that sits on the back, but for now, chicken will do. So everything over here works. And I also went ahead and did all the underground bits. So if we drop down here just to get into this area, I've already added tracks, I added stations, I added a schedule to it. I added quite a lot. I also added the redstone contact to this train, which in turn, if it goes past, it will trigger this, and once it triggers this, the pumpkin and melon farm will work. But there's still a lot that has to happen, but for now this works and we can get items from all these farms into the farmhouse. So how will this start? Well, that part I need to figure out still, because what I want to do is I want the combine harvester to run its route, and as soon as it reaches a certain point, it's also going to trigger a redstone link, which will then in turn set off the little truck. But for now, I think we should maybe see how it works. So let's do that. So there we see off goes the truck, and it's going to trigger that redstone link, and almost instantly these go up. It gets harvested and it goes down and gets collected. But let's quickly run and catch up with this. So over here it turns into the parking spot. We've got a portable interface down there underground, so it's picking up items. I don't think there's much here. 30 pieces of raw chicken. It then reverses into this position before it sets off to the next waypoint. And to make this possible, I did add 2 waypoints on this track, and I need to refine this little ramp a bit, because you're going to see now it does something really funky. So we will sort that out, but for now it's working, and then it's going to continue down this route over here. Hello. Oh, I love it. I love the vehicles. I like them more than trains, and I think it's because they're simpler. And then from here, it's going to go into this waypoint where there shouldn't be anything left already. I tested it quite a few times to get the waypoints ready, so there's no more items. And from here, it will reverse into there. There we go. I might make that a bit shorter or just extend the road. And then it's going to continue this way, and the last... So second to last stop will be the Melons. So it will come all the way over here. It'll stop right here. It's got a little link down there. I will add some more melons in this area just to make it seem like we're busy loading, because the storage is over there. Now it's going to go into the storage for the house. It's going to link up, and it's also going to offload a bunch of stuff over here. I just want to show you once it's done. See, he turns around, he's checking. And he's just going to reverse back into this position where he will wait for the next day. I don't know about you lot, but I am so happy and excited about this. It's just fantastic. It's cool. It's cool. I really love it. But let's quickly sleep, and I'll just show you the inside of the farmhouse. And inside the farmhouse, you can see everything is currently being processed. We've got a bunch of the raw stuff over there. We've got cabbage leaves. We've got all our items in here, and I did add some storage upgrades. And this is just slowly going to continue to fill up all these drawers. These drawers can contain 2040, I think. I'm not really sure. But once that's filled, we will have extras over here, and I will make sure we add some redstone links and stuff to turn off certain farms. We also have up here our melons and our pumpkins, so that's also working. I think that has been a really, really grand success. But the next thing we need to do is we need to look at this area with shaders on just to see what it looks like now. First of all, I just want to mention that I added another tree in that area, and the idea is, I think, to get this truck out of that area and rather have it stand right over here at an angle facing that way. That way it's ready to take off and all of those things. So that might be something I sort out between episodes. And if we look at it all from this angle, it's just starting to look so much better. We added some new trees. We've got a new tree over there as well. And then these 2 trees in the center here are actually the same tree that we just modified, made a bit more plump, and I will do a few more of those so we can add some more trees and even do some different trees in this area. But in general, I think this area is starting to look really neat, and it might be my new favorite area. I don't know. It might. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. But that sadly brings us to the end of this episode. We've done quite a lot, from decorating a little bee area, building a little pumpkin and melon farm, and even completing the logistical loop with a truck that runs around and picks up everything. So down in the comments, let me know, what is your favorite part? What do you think of the truck? And then also remember, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss another episode. Till the next one, bye for now.